Hi there, welcome. This is Chess from Retro Nirvana Gaming. Today we are talking about the Super Nintendo Collection 2024. All our awesome consoles, cartridges, and controllers for the Super Nintendo. If you enjoy Super Nintendo, this is the video for you. I've been collecting for the Super Nintendo for at least 15, 16 years now. And I have a big collection of cartridges that I want to share with you. Before we get started, do me a favor, if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button down below. You'll see more of our videos and you'll be helping the channel as well. Alright, now let's get into it. I hope you guys enjoy. Okay, of course, I started off with the Super Nintendo set right here when I was a kid. This is not that exact box, but this was the one that my brother got when we were kids. Obviously came with the Super Nintendo, 2 controllers, and Mario World. This was a fantastic birthday gift that my brother got back in the day. I ended up getting this from a lady for $50, complete in box. I want to say like 12 years ago at this point, very, very long time ago. It's in great shape, and I'm super happy to have it in the collection. The other is the Super Nintendo Junior. So this one is not obviously in the greatest shape, but it still looks pretty good overall. It has the graphics for Super Mario RPG on here. It's a Super Nintendo Junior with the redesigned controller, and the box looks like this. So still happy to have this in the collection. I never thought I'd get this in the box, so very happy to have that. Alright, let's go right into the cartridges. We're going to look at some of the heavy hitters today. This is going to be a 2-part video for the cartridges, so we're going to go right into the cartridges right away. One of the first games I ever owned, I actually bought when I started collecting again, was Chrono Trigger. This is a game I played a lot as a kid, a lot. I used to rent it. I used to play the ROM through emulation quite a bit. It is my favorite game of all time. No pun intended, because this game is about time. And so much so that my wife actually got me this soap, which is called Chrono Lather. And this is from Clean Geeks. It's a gigantic bar of soap in the form of a Super Nintendo cartridge. Love this game. It's very expensive. When I bought this, it was about $50. It is now quite a bit more than that. Alright, going on, we have Final Fantasy II. I am a huge RPG fan. This is why I started collecting, because I played all these games when I was a kid. Final Fantasy II is fantastic. There are better versions of that game, such as the PSP version. This is actually really Final Fantasy IV, but it's called 2 in the US. But the PSP version is better. Mystic Quest. This is a pretty decent little first attempt at a Final Fantasy RPG that they brought over from Japan before they were ready to introduce us to all those other ones. Okay, we have The Tick. This is a really cool beat-em-up game from the 90s TV show The Tick. Alright, next is Power Rangers the movie. Fantastic find from Goodwill back in the day. This game is actually kind of pricey, and it's actually really fun. It's a good game. Every collection should have this. Super Mario World 2, Yoshi's Island, also known as the Crying Baby Mario game. This one can get annoying, but it's a very good game. Produced by Shigeru Miyamoto. This is a fantastic gem of a title. Alright, we have Bomberman, Super Bomberman. This one's a great one. We only got, I think, a couple of these on the Super Nintendo, and the rest were released in Japan. That one is a good one. We got Alien vs. Predator. That is a fantastic game. That is a beat-em-up in the Alien and Predator series. We have a reproduction cart that I actually put into a Super Nintendo cartridge, which is Terranigma. This is a game that was only released in PAL territory in Japan, but the US never really saw this game. And so what I did was I took a reproduction cartridge and put it in an official Super Nintendo cartridge with a very nice label. And now you can almost not even tell it's a reproduction, but it definitely is. If you're a collector, you know. Alright, next is one of my favorite games on the Super Nintendo, and that's Final Fantasy III. I played this during COVID. Finally finished it. This is a game I played many times and never finished it. And then finally, 2020, I was able to sit down with all the time I had. I finished this game, and it is fantastic. I give this game a 10 out of 10. It is just phenomenal. Okay, Lufia. This one is really, really awesome. I have the sequel. I actually just got the sequel in the box. Lufia 2, Rise of the Sinistrals. This is a fantastic JRPG. If you're collecting for the Super Nintendo, this is a fantastic RPG. I highly recommend you pick it up. The music is fantastic. Graphics, battle, system, everything is awesome about it. Alright, next is Breath of Fire 2. This is a fantastic game from Capcom. It took a little while to collect all these Super Nintendo JRPGs. They are very pricey, so of course I was very selective with my labels and also making sure that they are in good shape overall. And I didn't want to pay a high price for them, so of course I was very patient. So yeah, this was a game that was on my list for a long time. Finally owned that one. That one is a classic. Alright, next we have Equinox. This one is okay. It's not fantastic as a JRPG, but it's okay. Check it out on YouTube if you're interested. I own it. It's one of those games that is not, I wouldn't say is in the top 20 best JRPGs, but it's kind of up there in terms of, it's okay. It's not great, it's just kind of mediocre. Alright, now a pretty rare game. One of the rare Super Nintendo games I have. This is Kirby's Dream Land 3. I actually got this from GameStop. It is authentic. The label is absolutely beautiful. And yes, this is a gem in our Kirby collection because I never thought I'd own this game, and this was when GameStop actually sold retro on their website. This was maybe, I was going to say 7-8 years ago at this point. Very happy to have this, and I paid a lot under what it was worth, so yeah, this is a good one. If you like that kind of claymation style, this game has that kind of claymation style. It's a little bit slow paced, but compared to the other Kirby games, but it's a good game overall. Alright, next we got Paladin's Quest, another mediocre RPG on the Super Nintendo by Enix. Back in the day, Square and Enix were separated, and Enix made their own games, Square made their own games, and then later on, Square bought Enix, and we have Square Enix. Alright, so next we have Brain Lord. This one I actually started playing again. It's actually pretty fun, and pretty decent graphics. Not a bad Enix title. I actually kind of like it. So yeah, that one's good. We got, here's a rare-ish Flintstones game. I got this from Goodwill as well. This is Flintstones, Treasure of Sierra Madrock. So I was able to get this in a lot at Goodwill quite a while ago. I was stunned that it's actually kind of a pricey game, and that is because it's made by Taito, and it is kind of like a Mario Party style board game featuring the Flintstones. Pretty good game. Say check it out if you have the chance. Alright, we have the first Sonic Blast Man. This is a very cool little beat 'em up. Not the best graphics, but it's okay. Next we have Mickey Mouse Circus Mystery. All the Capcom Mickey Mouse games are actually very high quality on the Super Nintendo. I highly recommend all of them. If you are a Super Nintendo collector, I'd say pick those games up. They're usually pretty cheap and they're high quality. Alright, here's a game that is kind of rare now and kind of hard to find, and that is Knights of the Round. Yeah, this one is awesome. I love this beat 'em up game, hack and slash, whatever you want to call it. This one is the golden age of Capcom. Highly recommend this game. It is pricey, but worth it. If you like playing games, couch co-op games with your friends, and you're a Super Nintendo collector, this is a must-have game. There are cheaper ways to play this though, like the Capcom beat 'em up collection on the Switch. That you have to get. Basically, it's an import from Japan, but yeah, it has this on there, and yeah, this is, obviously there's a more expensive way to do it, but if you're a Super Nintendo collector, you gotta have it. Alright, so next we got Shadowrun. This is a game that was the last Super Nintendo RPG I needed for the collection. I think I paid $60 for it, and I was very happy to pay that for it. It is in great shape. I got this from a game store. I think it was in New Hampshire. and it is a really cool game. I haven't delved too much into it, but it is a very cool game. I highly recommend picking it up. The Genesis one is completely different. So if you like Shadowrun, try both versions and let me know what you think. Alright, here's a game that I absolutely loved playing back in the day, and that is ActRaiser. They have done a remastered version on the Switch. Digital only, but this one is the classic one. Now, they played this actually in Nick Arcade back in the day, as in the arcades. That's where I first saw this game, and then I rented it for Super Nintendo, and I love this game. The music is fantastic. You play as a god. There is action stages, like kind of side-scrolling hack and slash action stages, and then you actually, there's an over the top god simulator mode where you're building stuff, you're destroying stuff, you are punishing evil beings as the god. I highly recommend that game. The first ActRaiser, fantastic. Here's one of my favorite childhood games. Growing up, I played a lot of Super Metroid, to the point where I actually had to call the Nintendo Power hint line just to beat Crocomire back in the day. And then finally, after getting that tip, I was able to beat the entire game. I absolutely love this game. I've beaten it many, many times. Metroid is one of my favorite series, and this and the Game Boy one, Return of Samus, are two of the reasons why I am such a big Metroid fan. Alright, moving on, we have some Battletoads games. I'm a huge Battletoads fan. As you can see by my shirt, I absolutely love Battletoads. This one is Battletoads and Double Dragon Ultimate Fighting Team. A game that I absolutely love, to the point where I ended up getting the box for this as well. So that is up there in my collection as well. Absolutely love this beat 'em up. It's silly. It's fun. It is not too difficult. It's challenging, but you end up learning a lot of stuff from playing it. Highly recommend this one. Love it. Alright, so of course, had to have Battletoads Double Dragon. And of course, Battle Maniacs is another one that is just Battletoads. This one has gigantic sprites, and the Battletoads are huge in this game. It is very wacky. It is fun. It has, of course, great music because it's Trade West and Rare. I highly recommend this game. If you're collecting for Super Nintendo and you like beat 'em ups, this is a must-own cartridge. Pick it up. Alright, back to Double Dragon. So we have Super Double Dragon. This is another one I absolutely love. It's very slow-moving compared to the other Double Dragon games, but you get to use weapons, nunchucks, you get to use counters. So if somebody punches you, you can block it, and you can do a counter move. This one is fantastic. I gotta say, I rented this. It is a tough game. It's very frustrating, but it's very rewarding when you get further into it. The music's fantastic. So pick it up if you like Double Dragon. Usually those games are difficult. Alright, next we got Magic Sword, another awesome Capcom game. This one is kind of a tower exploration game, side-scrolling, hack and slash. This was an arcade game back in the day. Yeah, fantastic game. Music is fantastic. I would say like 10 out of 10 on the music. Capcom just, was in the golden age back then. In terms of Super Nintendo games, all their games are like just a 10 out of 10. I love this game. You kind of play as like a Conan type, big barbarian style guy, knight, whatever you want to call him. And you go through each level of the tower. You have assistants that can help you, magicians and rogues and all sorts of cool stuff. Yeah, it's a really cool one. I gotta say, I love Magic Sword. Alright, so now Konami, we got one of the most essential Konami games of all time. That is Turtles in Time. Turtles 4, Turtles in Time. What can I say about this except for it is a masterpiece. It's a 10 out of 10. If you do not own this game for the Super Nintendo, this is a good investment to have. You will play this 20, 30 times at least. I know I have it and enjoyed it. It is fun. The music's fantastic. You can play it 2 players. It's fantastic. Obviously, it was an arcade game first, and then, of course, now it has made its way to the console on Super Nintendo, and it's on several other consoles as well. On the Switch, it's in the Cowabunga collection. All right, next is another favorite game, and that is Maximum Carnage, Spider-Man Venom Maximum Carnage Red Cartridge. This is a rental that I've had, or I've rented this quite a few times back in the day from Blockbuster. The music is fantastic, and it is a fun beat 'em up. It is difficult, but it is fun. I love this game. This was one of the original Spider-Man games that kind of got me into Spider-Man games, and you can play as Venom as well. It's fantastic. There is a gray cart version, but this one is more common, is the red cart version. I kind of like the red cart. It's actually really cool, because obviously the red is very similar to Carnage, so yeah. Alright, next, another awesome Capcom beat 'em up, and that is King of Dragons. So I paid up quite a bit for this back in the day. Actually, only got this a few years ago. I would say I got this at a pawn shop in Pennsylvania, and I had to pay up a little bit because this is a rare title. It is not cheap. It is a really great beat 'em up. I would say this one and Knights of the Round are kind of the same caliber. Both really fun to play together, and yeah, if you love collecting beat 'em ups, grab it. It's fantastic. Of course, Mega Man, one of my favorite series. We have the original Mega Man X. Absolutely love that one. Rented it many, many times from Blockbuster. I also have the much more expensive sequel, which is Mega Man X2. This one I also got, I believe, from... this one must have been eBay. I can't remember. It's either eBay or GameStop, one of these two. Didn't pay too much. I used some credit to get it. This is a game I played with one of my friends back in the day. We both absolutely love the music. This one is a 10 out of 10 for me. It is a little more difficult than Mega Man X, but it is very, very fun. There's a lot of cool upgrades for Mega Man in this one, and it is quite pricey. X3 has been on my radar for decades now, and I'm still trying to find a good copy for a good price. So that one is unfortunately still something I'm searching for. Alright, flea market find, Mega Man Soccer. I got this one for like $27 back in the day. Now this is quite a bit of an expensive game now. The lady only wanted like a few dollars, $27 for it back in the day at a flea market. And the back just needs a kind of replacement label, but otherwise it looks great. It is a quirky little soccer game featuring Mega Man. Check it out on YouTube if you have any questions about it, but yeah, it's a weird one. They really haven't done anything like that before. Okay, now here's a reproduction cartridge, and this is Mega Man and Bass. This one only came out on the Game Boy Advance in the US and in Japan. So I actually took the reproduction cart, put it in a Super Nintendo case, and yes, this is what it looks like now. So this is one of my favorite Mega Man games. Great music, and had to have that one just like that. A game that needs no introduction. If you are a Super Nintendo collector, this should be like one of the first games you own. Zelda: Link to the Past. This is actually my wife's copy from childhood. My brother also owned this back in the day, and we're still trying to get the box for this. I've played this game probably 30-40 times. I know it probably better than any other game except for Super Mario World and Mystical Ninja. Absolutely, I mean, this is a 10. Ask anybody on Super Nintendo, this is a 10 out of 10 game. Everyone must own this game. Okay, obviously the pack-in game that came with the system, Super Mario World. Nothing else needs to be said about this except for it is perfection in terms of 16-bit gameplay. We have Demon's Crest, one of my favorite Capcom games. This one, is a kind of a hidden gem. A lot of people don't know about this game. It is a fantastic game where you play as a gargoyle, and it's very similar to Mega Man in terms of the style of platforming, and even the bosses are very similar in terms of the abilities and stuff like that. I was able to get this for a good price. It is very pricey now, so look out for it. There's a lot of them that don't have good labels. This one is mint, and so this one's one that's probably never going to leave my collection. I love Demon's Crest. It's fantastic. Music's fantastic. All these Super Nintendo games have fantastic, iconic, classic music. Which brings me to the next game that has great music, Legend of Mystical Ninja. This is a game I played many times as a kid. We played this co-op together, my brother and I, my neighbor and I. We're always playing this one. This got me into the N64 ones, and I'm glad I did get into this one because I was able to buy the N64 one for really cheap back in the day, for about $50 complete in box. And it was all because I started playing the Super Nintendo one. This one, just one of the best games you'll ever play from Konami. The music is fantastic, the sprites are fantastic, and this was the only version we got in the US. They have, I think, 3 or 4 in Japan, and they're all really cool. This, unfortunately, was the only one we got in the US. Oh well, it's still a 10 out of 10 for me. Alright, Final Fight 2. Another great game in the Final Fight series. I don't have any of the other ones besides the first one and the second one. These ones are fantastic. This one is going up in price quite a bit. It's great. It's a great beat 'em up. It's fun to play, and I highly recommend you pick it up if you enjoy beat 'em ups. Okay, here's another one. This was the first and second game I got were Chrono Trigger and Earthbound. I knew about this game when I was a kid. That's why I was able to get this game. Now this game is close to $400. This is an authentic copy of Earthbound. When I was a kid, obviously this game came out. It was very hyped on Nintendo Power. I rented it. I played it. One of my friends had it. Back in the day, we played through most of it together, so I knew what this game was back in the 90s, late 90s. Of course, as I grew up, I was always looking to add this to my collection. And a game store opened up in my town when I started collecting again, maybe 13 years ago now. And I was one of the first people to walk into the store, and the owner was like, well, what games are you looking for? Give me a list and I'll find them for you. And so I put Chrono Trigger on there, I put Earthbound on there, I put a bunch of classic games on there that I wanted for the Super Nintendo, and he was able to pick these up for me for like $50 a piece. So now this game is worth 4 times as much. And of course, I'm never getting rid of this copy. This is, one of my trophies, one of my best games in my collection. I do love this game. I've gotten very far in it, but I've never actually beaten it. It is super fun. Alright, next, Contra Alien Wars. This one is a banger. This one is fantastic. This is Golden Age of Konami. Debatably the best Contra game ever. Some people might say the Nintendo one is better. I believe that the Super Nintendo one is the best. It has great bosses. The music is fantastic. The gameplay is fair, but not super easy. And I enjoy playing this every time I pop it in. It's just super fun, and I highly recommend it. Alright, next, another Konami game, Sunset Riders. This one is one of the best arcade games to get ported to the Super Nintendo. This is a game that you play as a cowboy, or four cowboys. It is co-op. You can play basically 2 players on the same screen, and it is super fun. I love this game. Music's great, gameplay is solid but fair, and I enjoy it every time I play it. It's super great, super fun. I love it. All right, next Konami game, Super Castlevania 4. Another game I played as a kid. Rented it, loved the music. It was really the first Castlevania game I ever played, because I never played the Nintendo one till much later. And it's just a golden age game. I think it never gets boring. It's super fun to play, and I say everybody should own that in their Super Nintendo collection, if you can. Alright, moving on to Street Fighter, we have Street Fighter Alpha 2. This is a miracle port This is a game that really should be on it was on the PlayStation 1, and it's actually now using a special chip. You can see there's a special board on there that has 2 little teeth on the side. This is actually ported to Super Nintendo. It has not the greatest load times, but it's actually really fun to play still. And it's climbing in price a little bit over the years. It's not super cheap anymore. So yeah, I'd say if you're looking for a cool Street Fighter game that's a little different than the more common ones, Street Fighter Alpha 2 is a really good pickup. Alright, moving back to RPGs, we have Tecmo Secret of the Stars. This one is a pretty solid entry into JRPGs. I do enjoy this one. I know a lot of people don't really know about this game. It doesn't get talked about very much, but it is very, very fun, and I do enjoy this game quite a bit. I have to go and finish it. I have not finished this game, but this was on my radar for many, 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 many years, and finally able to pick this up and add it to the Super Nintendo RPG collection. Alright, next we have 2 more Enix games. There's Soul Blazer. There's another really cool kind of hack and slash JRPG where you have to save this town and bring everybody back. I love this game. I think it's fantastic. Music's good, graphics are good, it's fun to play. It's a classic, I would say. Pick it up. And that one is Soul Blazer. Here's another game that was expensive, but I picked up for cheap, and that is Robotrek. This is a game where you basically raise an army of robots and they fight with you. So you basically collect parts, you build them, you upgrade them, and they fight in JRPG battles with you. I was able to get this on Mercari many, many years ago. I didn't pay a lot for this, but this game went up in price quite a bit over the years. I know somebody got pretty upset when I bought this on Mercari because the guy was selling it for way under what it's worth. So of course the guy was trying to convince him to sell it for a higher price, but he ended up selling it to me instead, and he was happy with the price that I bought it for. And so yeah, I love this game. I think it's fantastic. I need to go back and play more of it, but it is a really, really fun game. Okay, so that is the first look at all the cartridges. I hope you enjoyed that. Let me know what if you own any of these cartridges, what you think about some of these Super Nintendo games. And don't forget to hit that subscribe down below when you get a chance. It helps us grow, and you'll see more of our videos. Alright, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys in part 2. Thanks so much. Bye.